Yeah, it's like bamboo.
In a sense, eh?
Yeah.
The derogatory, I guess some anti-Semites named this as a common name, wandering Jew. I have nothing against Jews, so I'm not going to call it wandering Jew. I'm going to call it dirty motherfucker. Yeah? Sometimes you'll actually see the dirty motherfucker's flowers, and you'll be like, oh, I can't believe I have to. It's such a pretty little blue flower. But it's still a dirty motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So again, like, you can kind of see. You see how it's like producing roots right from here? It'll produce roots from every single nodule that touches the ground. So if you see this, like, if you throw this into the chicken tractor, it just takes over. If you throw this into a compost pile, it takes over. See it in the human manure pile, all over the place. And like, there was a time, because I didn't know any of these plants, right? So there was a time when I was in the whole, like, I am not going to harm any of you, because you could all end up being some, like, really beneficial plant to bring insects, or, you know, for fertility production, or you might be a medicinal plant, or who knows what, right? And I don't want to screw with anybody. So I was like, let everybody be. This guy taught me a lesson. And it took us months where every garden bed was just covered in this. It was like we had a plantation of this stuff. We went from being yeshipa to being this stuff taking over everything. Anywhere where we put something fertile. He doesn't grow in shitty soil. He likes our good stuff. You know what I mean? Takes advantage of the fact that we're adding fertility to the soil. So
You
this
pull
is-
them right out.
yeah, try to get it out by the roots.
Yeah.
And like while you're taking care of the rest of the bed, everything else, it doesn't really matter if you forget about it. But this guy, I would always put it in a pile somewhere special, or put it in my pocket, and remember to put it in one place and one place only, which we're going to go visit right now.
Cool. And you normally see a lot of them?
There's less and less and less as long as we keep under control.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you might see like a lot of them because somebody didn't take care of it, you know? Because
Yeah.
all it takes is somebody to, by mistake, put it all in one big pile, put it on the compost, and suddenly it's like, it becomes such a headache, you know? Because not only will this thing produce, but if you have a piece of root, it's about this big, it'll turn into another plant. So if all of a sudden this guy's growing on top of your compost pile, you don't even know it because somebody's already ripped it off the top maybe to throw it in the pile, but you're putting compost on top of your garden and suddenly, yeah. So she's like, it's a constant struggle against the evil motherfucker, and like generally you can see there's a huge diversity here, and this is the only, you know, most farming it's like you think of the 4 plants that are growing in the garden and everything else is evil, and here's like everybody else is a good guy. This is the only thing that's really, really evil. You know, even the false clover and the grasses and that, they're just competing. You know, they're competing because there's a space that we did not put something there that should be there. You know, like so it's like a sign. Wherever you see a false clover, it's saying, "Dude, something belongs here. I'm just trying to cover the soil because somebody's too lazy to put mulch here." You know,
Okay.
so it's like they're all good guys for me. They're all just doing their thing. But this guy, he does his thing too well.
Gotcha.
I would say that two bright. The naranjillas have been opened up completely. They used to be under bushes. It might be too much for them. We'll see. But ideally, you would want still there to be some cover. While I'm here, I want to point out, do you see this beautiful plant with the white flowers? Sometimes they've also got purple flowers. His name is Fishbean. And Fishbean's an awesome organic matter producer. Fishbean also has a chemical inside its leaves and seeds that, well, the reason why they call it Fishbean is because in like Ethiopia and Eritrea in the highlands, where it's a native, they use this plant. They actually like grind this stuff up and then throw it in a creek, and then somebody else is downstream picking all the fish as they float to the top. Yeah, we're not doing that here. Yeah, but what we are using it for is organic matter production. we're using it as mulch in areas where we're trying to prevent those big cusos, those big grubs from taking over. And I'm using it as a wash for the animals. Like say for instance, poor Negra, you see her chewing herself all the time. She's got so many fleas. You can make a Fishbean wash and bathe her in that stuff, you know. And my donkeys, they've got this like, there's like an insect that lives under the skin. I think I mentioned it on the way up. It'd be great if we could harvest some Fishbean and bring it over. So when you're harvesting Fishbean, you're doing exactly what I say with the berries, right? You're cutting it back, but you're always looking for a couple buds. So you cut just above the buds with the idea that it'll grow again, yeah, even bushier. And what's really important, because this plant isn't from around here, it is from the Sahel Desert. Like I believe that we should be bringing in seeds from other places because of climate change and everything like that. I feel like sticking to just natives in a world that's changing is not the smartest thing to do, right? We do need to diversify as much as possible because what's growing here now might actually be more adapted to the Himalayas now. What should be growing here might be more from the Sahel if it gets drier or wetter or whatever. And I have no idea how it's going, so I'm just trying a lot of different things, you know. And in the case of Fishbean, it grows really well, even with 5 months without rain. It's still growing really well. It does really well in the rain too. It seems to be okay here. That being said, I don't feel like I need to just let it spread all over Ecuador just like that at this very moment. So do you see how it's got those beans on it? I'd say whenever it's got beans on it with no flowers on top anymore, it's time to cut it. Whether you're planning on making a big ass like bath water for the dogs and cats and donkeys, or if you just see it and need to get rid of it, get rid of it. Just that branch at the very least. So you take the beans, you follow the branch down to where it hits the base of the bush, and then count 1, 2, maybe 3 buds that'll grow back, and just above that 3rd bud you cut it. Yeah, and then you either strip all the leaves and add that to the compost, or you chop it up and use it as mulch in the orchard, or you grind it and mash it a bit until it's kind of juicy, and add water, and then 12 hours later bathe your animals in it. Yeah, those are your options for fish.
That's with the actual long bean.
That's, well, definitely, it's like, if you see the bean like that, if you need to make a bath water for the dogs, cats, donkeys, you can cut any of the plants. But definitely when you see the beans, it has to be cut. Because if those beans turn, right now it's still got a bit of green to it, and if you shake it, you won't hear a rattle. But when those things start to rattle, and then you get a bit of sunlight, they pop. And the seeds go poof. And spread. And it's okay because right now it's still in the gardens here. You know, the seeds have never actually spread outside of the garden system. But let's try to keep it under control anyways.
So what do you do with the seeds when you put it?
If you hear a rattle,
Yes.
bring it to the kitchen and advise me, and I will deal with them in my own way.
Okay. Otherwise, it's the leaves you're mashing up.
The leaves and the beans,
flower.
everything. You can mash up the whole plant.
Okay.
If you're making an insecticidal bath for the animals.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. While we're here, I would like to